Welcome back to the Relay. Today we're going to hear from Anders and Garth. These are gentlemen that we swim with on a regular basis. Their stories are something that I've found a tremendous amount of insight from and actually had some encouragement in my own life as well. All of us have really enjoyed Anders and Garth, and we hope you do as well. We're going to continue the conversation with Garth and Anders, and just want to say thanks again for coming out. It's just such an interesting story you both have, and encouraging to me. And so with that, I'd like to get into some deeper questions, perhaps, as we like to say on the Relay, at the deep end of the pool a little bit. But, let me throw this one out there. The things that you have done, losing tremendous amount of weight, doing a tremendous amount of exercise, swimming in what seems humanly impossible to me, Anders. It seems I'm still reconciling how this is possible and to still have you be present, because it sounds like what you've done is impossible. For those listening, are there benefits to doing what you've done, even if you don't take it to where you've taken it?
Everyone has their own Mount Everest, and whatever it is they are probably very good at that I could never do. It's just something that I do that's different. And everyone has their own challenges and their own successes.
In that environment you've just described, so a couple questions. One is, it sounds to me like this is a refuge from everything else.
Yeah.
You've talked about work as an engineer. Can you share for the listeners, if you don't mind, what other things have you done in life?
I finished high school, 16 in the UK. Had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. Our careers guidance at school was, if you wanted to be work in insurance, a policeman, a train driver, or a fireman, they had a lot of assistance for you. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I stayed on the sixth form, which is the stepping stone to university, and I failed both my A-levels, which is the advanced, so it was high school diplomas. I failed both of those, and ended up working in a nightclub as a barman. And the first night was absolute chaos, because they were two or four bar people down in rock club. Punks, goths, rockers, and Hells Angels, and things like that. And it was just chaos, but it was organised chaos. So people knew what they were doing. And working in there, it's just sort of everything has its life. Everyone had their own role in the bigger thing. And the bigger thing was a rock night. And I thought, okay, this is good. At that time, I was working in insurance. I was working collecting outstanding premiums on life policies. It wasn't the most exciting thing, but some people enjoyed it, and that's there. Great. If you enjoy it, keep doing it. It wasn't for me. I did 9 months of that. A friend of mine who ironically was living in Whistler at the time, he phoned me up and goes, "Do you want a tour across the States?" So I was like, why not? And another friend of mine who I didn't realise was working in the same insurance company, I bumped him into the toilets. We talked about it, and both of us flew over to Los Angeles, flew back from JFK, and we're living in a 1978 Chevy Nova for 3 months, well, 2.5 months, and travelled 12,500 miles. And had great fun, but fell off a cliff in Yosemite. So I got arthritis in my hip, and a scar there, and a few other scars, and spent 6 hours in the emergency room. Came back and worked in a nightclub again, and didn't have a daytime job. Someone jumped from the top landing and went straight through the half landing of the stairs. So I did woodwork at school. So the manageress said, "Well, can you fix this?" I was like, "Yep, no problem." So I repaired the stairs. Then it was a big live music event. They said, we get extra beer delivery. Can you help with that? So I ended up doing the cellar there. Then it was a bars manager. And at the age of 22, I ended up running the place. I was licensee and general manager. And the equivalent here is the Commodore Ballroom. We had a very similar acts in a very sort of similar venue. Did that, and at the time I had no idea that you can damage your hearing. And being exposed to loud music for somewhere between 4 and 7 nights a week, live music, loud club nights, my hearing's wrecked. I got quite bad hearing. Also, relatively before then, I also found out that I was losing my sight in my right eye, and I've got family bad eyesight anyway. I'm very long-sighted. So those sort of health things. And at one point, I had a fallout with the owner of the club because it was independently owned, and it was decided between us it was best if I worked somewhere else, and end up in the student union in Bristol because I could run bars there. But at that time, I was up to European level open water swimming 5K races. And they had a pool in the basement and I could train there as much as I wanted. And so was doing that. And that's where someone said, "Have you thought about swimming the channel?" So, no, but okay. And the seed was sown, and eventually I sort of did. From there, I realized that some of the students are really quite rude, not very bright, but they ended up with good jobs. So I went back to school at 27 to get my advanced levels to go off to university. Didn't know what I wanted to do at university, so I did chemistry and psychology and failed psychology, but a friend helped me through the chemistry, got in on 1A level, which is quite unusual, but as I was a mature student at 28 at the time, they sort of allowed me through. Originally was doing geological hazards, but I realised the UK hasn't got any volcanoes and it doesn't have earthquakes. So I changed to engineering, geology and geotechnics. And my father was a bricklayer in general construction. Found it interesting. I knew that I didn't want to get into bridge building, and concrete doesn't interest me, so I ended up doing ground engineering. And graduated working for a drilling contractor. Then I worked for a quarrying consultancy. From there, I worked doing rope access work, installing rock bolts, rock fall mesh, dangling off the end of a rope, and working all over the country. In one of the common threads with university and all these different jobs, I really did move around the country for it, was master swimming. No one really cares. Well, that's not right. They do care. They want you to have a good time. They want you to enjoy yourself, and they want you to excel. And that is, I've 5 masters clubs since university. And the common thread is they all want you to succeed. And that has been an absolute backbone of why I'm here now. The people that I've met have assisted in their own little way, whether it's me being allowed to help them do cold water swimming, or them coaching me to race in provincial championships. Whilst working at the rope access company, I went back to university, and a strange chap with a funny Canadian English accent gave a talk about the ice roads. At the time, the ice road truckers were taking off in the UK because it's crazy Canadians driving across frozen lakes. And they don't really know that it's quite normal here. And at the end of his talk, he said, "By the way, we're hiring." And they made me an offer. I phoned them up a few months later, and they offered me a job I couldn't turn down. So with 8 months and clearing visas and things, I landed in Canada, and I haven't looked back. That was 15 years ago. And this is really my 3rd phase of swimming. it's absolutely fantastic. I still think I've got more to go, more to learn, more to help, and more people to meet.
Well, Anders, as I hear your backstory about the work you've done and what you seem to find meaning in, when you put your face in the water, those challenges that you've dealt with in the past, the chaos from the nightclubs, the challenges that you deal with in terms of trying to figure out a potentially monotonous task, is it a contrast in the water? Is that what brings you back to it?
It's the routine. It's the standing on a beach in Dover looking towards France and thinking, that's a long way. It isn't a long way. It's 45-minute swim, 30 seconds rest, 45-minute swim. Stood there in front of a core shed with 1.2 kilometres of core in front of you. You think, that's a core box. Let's log the core box, have a walk round, come back again, start again. It's breaking things down into manageable chunks. Going back to university or going back to the high school, it's 3 terms. University, 2 semesters. In a semester is 22 weeks. It's manageable. But when you think of university 3 years in the UK, that's a long time, but it's not 3 years. It's not a 38-kilometre swim. It's 3 kilometres, have a rest.
When you think of like you have that big challenge in front of you, it is daunting. It's almost negative in a sense. It's defeating in so many cases. I can talk about weight loss, same sort of thing. 100 pounds, that was a lot. Never once thought I was going to lose 100 pounds. In fact, it wasn't even my goal. It was 5 pounds. Rinse, repeat. Go into these marathons that we're running and whatnot. I don't say that to myself that, I got to run 42 kilometers. It's like, no, I'm going to do 14K. I'm going to warm up. I'm going to do another 14K. We're going to rinse and repeat. And there's a great book by Matt Fitzgerald, How Bad Do You Want It? And it covers about 12 or so stories of just amazing athletic accomplishments and different coping mechanisms that took place to help people achieve those goals. Really, really fascinating read. Even if you're not really into athletics, it's just interesting to hear the stories. Highly recommend that.
Yeah, one of my biggest accomplishments, we had back in the UK, we had a kid of 8 or 9, blind swimmer. I helped him with his first race. It was 25 meters breaststroke in. The courage that kid had to get in there and swim, just not knowing where the lead ropes are. If anyone tries swimming with your eyes closed, it's scary as hell. I helped him to the blocks. My coach at the other end with a bonking stick, which is 5-metre stick with a tennis ball on the end of it. It just taps on the head. You've got 5 metres to go. And that was absolutely one of my best swimming times. I felt absolutely privileged for that one.
Anders, hearing you share this story and just the powerful emotion that it brings to you. I want to ask you about your hat in a minute, Garth, because it's a cool hat and I see you wear it. But one of the things that we're doing here by sharing these stories is for people that choose to listen to what we're sharing. We've been through a weird period of history, a pandemic. There's a perception that society is getting angrier. There's challenges everywhere. And I come to the pool and I'm hearing things from people like yourselves who are doing things that are working and sharing what's working, chunking things, taking insurmountable things to initial impressions and breaking them down into smaller pieces. Being grateful. Because you don't have to just swim in the cold water. You get to do it with some eyesight.
Yeah.
Simple, yet massively effective things like encouraging each other together. These are what I'm hearing you share.
It's a lot of fun. I love encouraging people. I call them like dumb ideas. Just I remember a lot of times I'll come to the lake and Anders will see a big grin on my face, and he knows that I got a quote dumb idea. So how about we do this? Okay.
You mean like swim in cold water?
Well, little things. Well, there was the one story where we decided to swim out to Jug Island, and it's, for people who don't know, it's an ocean swim. It's probably, I would say return, it's about 6 kilometers.
Yeah, about that.
Out there, so 3 kilometers up and 3 kilometers down, and it's a tidal current. So we swim up. It's a beautiful swim. I was actually just on my paddleboard, and I was encouraging Anders to come along and swim with me. So we're coming back, and the current is not in our favor. We probably got another kilometer to go, and we have to come around this one point. And this one point, it's really windy. It's really pushing hard, and there's a section where you can just walk over this little beach and to cut around the point and avoid that. So I asked Anders, and I said, "Hey, do you want to just go over that beach?" And what was your response?
Not proper swimming.
That wouldn't be
Not
proper.
proper swimming.
That wouldn't be proper. So we went around, and we get up. I start paddling, and I'm paddling hard. I'm paddling as hard as I can. I'm on my knees to avoid as much wind as possible. Paddling. I look over. I see Anders. He's swimming hard. He's giving it everything he's got. And then I see the land. It's not moving. We're just there, like on this treadmill, paddling away, and I look at my watch, which oddly was configured for swimming. It's like, you're swimming. It's taking you 3 minutes and 30 seconds to swim 100 meters, which was really slow, and we eventually made it, and that was one of those things that we had like a really positive attitude. It was fun. It was memorable. We always remember like little events like that. And if you don't go out and try these things and take a little bit of adventure with you, then you'll never have those memories to begin with.
Well, what I'm hearing from both of you is you get to, you don't have to. I mean, when you showed up at 3:30, well, you wake up at 3:30 to go to some part of England to swim in water most people don't want to put their toes in. You did that because you wanted it.
Yeah. I didn't want to swim in the cold water. I wanted the end goal. But it is not about the end goal. It's about how you get there. And that seems to be the thing for me. It isn't I've got a degree certificate, I've got a certificate saying 11 hours, 32 minutes across the channel. That isn't it. It's the looking back on how I got there, in the people I met, in the way they affected me, and hopefully I affected them, hopefully in a positive way. And it really is about my journey. And anyone wants to try cold water swimming, there's no I really believe I haven't got any physiological difference. You can do it. There'll be different times for different people, and there'll be different temperatures where that's enough for them, but it's just pushing yourself through. Okay, it's painful at some points, but most people can do it. And if you can't, that's not a problem. Even if you go in for 30 seconds or so, we'll look after you. It's about helping you overcome, because there's really no prize at the end of it. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's raining. You don't get the big band finale or someone handing you a medal when you get out. It's just you shake your hot chocolate all over yourself and try and get dressed before the shake set in.
And sometimes cookies.
Yeah,
I would say that's a prize.
Yeah, chocolate salty balls.
Yes, they're delicious.
They are.
These hard things that you've done, that you achieved, and you continue to achieve, you've managed to not just drop over 100 pounds, you've kept it off. You haven't just done the English Channel once, you continue to do this. Do these hard things make you more effective in the other parts of your life, or make the other parts of your life that might be hard easier? What do you think?
100%. 100%. And maybe it's not that these hard things make things easier. Maybe it's the balance that this has afforded me, made me a better person at work. Like, frankly, when I look back and I think about like my previous boss, she would tell me, "You're way less of an asshole now." And that's true. I was a dick. Like I was terrible to be around because I didn't have that balance. So it was more that this new change of life, this lifestyle that I have, the value that I put along like physical activity and keeping my work in some sort of restraint and always kind of seeking adventure has really made it easier to excel in the office environment.
Thank you, Garth.
And one of the things about the coaching is when you're, for me anyway, it's prefer the longer swims. And you go through various levels of discomfort and euphoria and pain and stuff. And every now and again, you hear your coach's voice. And it's sort of like someone with you at all times, and it just becomes an automated system. You've done this before. This is what you do now. And this isn't new to you. You know it's not the end for you. So keep going, do what you're doing. Either slack off a little bit or push harder because you know your arm's not going to fall off.
It reminds me of, so one of the things I did is I decided to run the Chilkoot Trail, which is a trail from just outside of Skagway, Alaska, over the Alaska-Canada border into Lake Bennett. It's a beautiful, beautiful trail. You ever see like those old pictures of the pioneers going up the snowy mountain? It's that trail. It's a lot of history, and it was one day I was training in San Diego running, and I was climbing up just a little hike, just day hiking, and I'm walking past these people easily up the mountain, and these people are stopped and out of breath, and it made me click. I'm like, oh, I've been training for a while. I got a little bit of physical. What can I do with this physical training that I've had? It's like, I did the Chilkoot Trail as a kid a long time ago. Maybe I can just go ahead and run it and do something like that. And this is just a reminder to people, like, you talk about like the positive things that you hear, how impactful hearing that positivity is. Because on that day, it was hot. It was really, really hot. At the end of the day, I was looking at my watch and I was thinking, oh, I got to get there. I got to get to the end by 3:00, because at the end of this trail is a train. You jump on that train and you can take the train back. It's nice and easy. If you miss that train, either I have to camp out somewhere, I didn't have camping gear, or I have to do another 10 kilometers along the tracks to get to the highway, which I did not want to do. I was going through that day. It was a beautiful, beautiful day, hot. Went through like dense forests, up over the tree line, glaciers, you name it. It was just stunning. And I was about 5 kilometers away from the finish. And I look at my watch and it's like, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I'm going to actually get there in time. And then I see these two guys. They're total, what you would imagine your stereotypical hippies that are just coming the other direction. It's like, how you doing, man? It's like, I'm doing good. I'm trying to get to here by 3:00, but I don't know if I can do it. And he like, just, I believe in you, man. Like, that's all he said. I believe in you. And I was like, thanks. Like that that really lifted my spirit. Like that helped me kind of push on to go even further and further. I actually really did draw down to the line. I had 3 or so minutes to go. I look at my watch. I was like, yeah, three minutes. I can make it. It's saying here. It looks like it's at the top of the hill, so it's sandy. I'm dehydrated because I ran out of water. I can't spare time to go filter water out, so I'm completely at empty on water and food and all that. I'm giving it everything, climbing up the sandy hill in the heat. And I get there and it's like 3 o'clock. Okay, I made it. Then my heart sinks and I look down the valley, down the distance as the train station is still another kilometer away. Fortunately, I see a whole bunch of hikers there. The train hasn't been there. Okay. The heart rests a bit. I start running my way down to the track slower. Okay, the train's going to come any moment. I get there and I collapse. These guys are... So which campsite did you start from? I started the trail today. They're looking at me. Yeah, you certainly did, didn't you? I willed up some courage and I crawled my way to the lake and got some water. And I'm thinking, oh, this train's late. It's like 20 minutes late. Wow. And another 20 minutes go by. It's like 40 minutes late. The train shows up. I'm like, well, it's pretty late. I get on the train and I pull out my phone and I realize that when I did the hike, I crossed a time zone. I had an hour the entire time, but then it was a side story. But if it wasn't for those two guys that just kind of wished like, hey man, I believe in you, that just made the difference. And I remember that. And I remember the power of that positivity and having that positive mindset. It's kind of why I brought this hat, which for viewers, it's to describe it, it's this straw hat. I paid like $5 in Thailand for it because this, as you probably can't see, doesn't work in the sun. And I'm pointing to my ginger face. It's sun and me really don't go together. So I got the straw hat in Thailand and to cover up. And one day I wore it running. It stayed on my head during wind and rain, and it's actually been quite useful. And I started wearing it during races. So I'll do like a marathon and whatnot. And every corner I run around, I hear this, nice hat. Another corner, epic hat, bro. With that. And then I see this other runner looking back. Wow, that is a really nice hat. And then it becomes like a conversation for 1 kilometer that I totally forgot. I totally don't remember how much anguish or pain or suffering I was going through. It was just because this one little thing, this coping mechanism that I have to help not focus on like how much something would hurt, but to bring the positivity around to the experience. And anytime someone cheered or said like whatever my name was, usually they'd call out tacos because on my race bib I'd say tacos. It's like, hey, I love tacos. So everyone telling me that they love me was really fun. So all those things added up to just a much better experience, and I could never have like done the runs that I can if it wasn't for like the help of people cheering and supporting and that positivity.
Well, I have to say, gentlemen, hearing from you tonight increases my faith in humanity. And, getting to know you, I know we've been swimming together for a couple of years, and getting to know each of you a little more tonight and sharing that with the listeners and the viewers is tremendously encouraging. So to speak of what we've spoken of tonight, and that is, I hope that whoever's listened to this tonight takes a lot of encouragement from it. Anders, I'm going to do some more cold water swimming, but at my own pace. And Garth, I'm still not going to run, but I'm going to swim more. And I do want to say thank you so much. And for those of you that are going to stick with us, thanks for listening. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I hope to have you back. And, as we bring Anders and Garth and the people we swim with back, and John and Vance and Graham, who's on your relay? And I hope that you can reflect on this and, like I do, encourage somebody, because you don't know how it's going to get them through that next race, road rash or freezing toes or not. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. We hope you've been enjoying the relay. If you like what you're seeing and you want us to do more, please hit subscribe and hit that like. Stay tuned for future episodes. And if you have any suggestions about what you'd like to see more of us talk about, we'd like to hear from you.